Hello again, friends, family, and fans. I know it's been a long time since you have heard from me, and I didn't post any updates over the winter as I had promised, but the honest truth is that I spent the winter as a couch potato, watching movies and playing video games and doing little else. I suppose the temptation to be lazy was too strong. But now I'm back in action. My season has now started, and I have again relocated to the woods. Early spring was quite dry, and I had hopes of getting an early start on the season, but by about early May it started raining and didn't let up for several weeks. In early June I was called upon to travel south to my old home to visit with ailing family, but when I returned I headed straight for the woods and am now dug in at camp for the season. I returned to find my camp just about the same as I had left it. I was just a bit surprised to find that my lean-to was still in excellent condition, and other than the fact that the needles had dried and fallen off, was exactly how I had left it, and was still shedding water and perfectly sound. Although the winter was relatively mild, there were several snowfalls in excess of 2 feet, which the structure must have stoically withstood. On June 15th I returned to camp for the season, and set myself to a return to woods life, finding it quite easy to resume the routines established last year. As I returned, I was struck by the realization that what I was doing could no longer be considered camping, but rather that I was indeed living in the woods, as there is nothing truly temporary about my situation. Because of the latitude, the season could, until quite recently, still be described as late spring, with the bramble bushes just beginning to flower and wild strawberries coming into season. The reptile and amphibian populations seem to be the most prevalent activity in the woods at this time of the year, with the snapping turtles on the go finding places to lay eggs through mid-June, and a preponderance of northern brown and garter snakes roaming the woods and soaking up the warming sun. There are an awful lot of blue jays in the area this year, and thousands of tadpoles wherever there is a slow-running stream or pool of still water, now with fully developed rear and front legs, but not yet having started to lose their tails. Because of the excess rain, the insects are particularly bad at present, and the myriad spiders seem to barely make a dent in the mosquito and blackfly populations. By day there is plenty of bird song, and as evening falls, the frogs take up the chorus in the bogs and streams. I am currently at war with a beaver who has decided that it's a good idea to plug up a culvert pipe, flooding a section of road just outside my camp. So at least twice a day I have to undo his work to keep the culvert flowing and the roadway above water. One day, while out for a walk, I encountered a little family of ducks. I believe they were red-breasted mergansers, a mother and 3 ducklings. The partridge also are commonly seen out with their young, bringing up another generation to populate the woods I now call home. I brought a new tent to camp, having retired the one I have been using for the last 10 years, and have disassembled the lean-to to begin making way for the construction of my cabin this year, and have used its tarp and a couple others I had laying around to construct a large comfortable rain shelter, so I have a refuge other than my tent on wet days. It is easily large enough to shelter a good supply of firewood and my bicycle, with room for a table and a couple of chairs, and ample room remaining to mill about and stretch my legs, tall enough to stand upright in the entire structure. So now it's time that I set about the season's work in earnest. All of the logs I cut last year need to be dragged up to camp to be peeled and inspected before construction can begin, and there are at least a couple small tree stumps that need to be removed before I can build. The logs do not seem to have lost as much weight as I had hoped, and so moving them may be a little more of a struggle than I had anticipated. But I never expected this life to be an easy one, and I am prepared to make whatever effort is necessary to continue living my dream. I am still hopeful of being able to complete construction this season, and hopefully be able to stay through at least a good portion of the winter. With construction the primary focus, I am doubtful of harvesting the wild bounty of the forest yet, and am still dependent upon purchased provisions for my sustenance. I do hope, however, that I can find the time to at least begin to supplement my diet with some fish, game, and wild plant foods. Apart from that, I must also begin to lay in a surplus of firewood in order to prolong my season, granted that I can complete construction before the winter drives me back to town. On my Hatchet Jack channel, I hope soon to begin a series of videos on map reading, navigation, and orienteering, but for now my other work must come first. Before I leave you until next time, I'd like to thank all of my subscribers for your support and give a shout out to everyone I met while internet gaming over the winter, especially my friends from the UK. I continue to welcome any comments, critiques, and suggestions any of you might have, and look forward to sharing another season of my Backwoods Odyssey with you all. Until next time, may your heart's compass lead you where you need to be.